Hello, Dove me. How are we all doing today? We're back. Uh, we decided to take a short break, mostly because I figured everyone wants to actually enjoy the rest of their day and not be here till 6 p.m. when we're just doing a little brief round table. The main course is over. We've got the lectures done, and the round table is more of a, I don't know, let's call it an appy or what's this soup that nobody eats? Mike, you've been to GDC. Come take a mic and come. Mike, take a mic. You could come talk GDC with me. There you go, buddy.
All right.
Clip it on. You're wearing your GDC shirt. Come on, you're repping.
I know. Had to represent.
Had to represent. Perfect. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly. Okay, so we're just gonna do a. Where's the?
How was that? Do I actually, can anybody hear me?
I think you're good. Yeah, that looks fine. All right, so pop a squat on that chair. I'll roll this one over.
All right.
All right. I guess we don't need the. I'll turn the lights on. That'll help. The stream look less silly too.
Is this
Uh,
being streamed or is it just in this room? You're
flashbang.
right.
Cha. Pocket sand.
That's fine.
Yeah, so let's pull this up to a bigger window here so I can see it better. There we go. Hello, stream.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then we'll bring this down a little.
Excellent.
There we go. Please don't fall over again.
I make promises.
Yeah, so I just want to kind of to go over what it's like to go to GDC, whether or not you should go to GDC, what to expect when you're at GDC, maybe a little bit into San Francisco as a whole as well there, because that's where GDC is based. Um, with that in mind, if this computer would turn on, make my life easier. Let's do this. You don't need to see through there. You can see us in person. We're right here. There we go. Perfect. So, is that working? Lovely. Let's go over what GDC is first. So, GDC is the Game Development Conference. It occurs every year in San Francisco, San Fran, where the Golden Gate Bridge is. And if you've
Yeah.
watched Eli Ross, where did that show is set? Funnily enough, that stars the guy who played Sherlock Holmes in Elementary. Good show. A little tangent there for you. But yeah, basically GDC is March. Was that when GDC was? Let's check.
Yeah, I would say March. I think
All right, yeah. So
it's
GDC
something
is in March.
March.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And realistically, we're probably going to go again this year.
Yeah.
Last year we had, what was it, 12 students?
Yeah, we had 12 students.
12
Yeah,
students.
because we had yeah. Yeah, because we had multiple two-bedroom suites.
Yes, we had what, 3 rooms
Yeah, we had
with
three
4 people in
rooms,
each?
4 people to each room. Yeah.
And yeah, the nice thing with GDC is we pretty much were letting anyone go.
Yeah,
And the cost wasn't bad per se. It was what,
it was pretty
800 bucks?
reasonable. It was about 800 because the student union helped foot some of that bill. The main thing was like budget for food.
Yeah, food's expensive. It's the States. So when you see a $16 burger, fries, and Coke,
That's
that's
actually
20 bucks.
that
That's 25 bucks.
if not more. Yeah.
Our dollar's not good there. And if you don't acknowledge that, you're going to have a bad time. Also,
Yeah.
um,
Make sure you bring
plan
a
in,
credit card.
yeah.
Yeah.
And make sure your phone plan has data. Because the amount of people who didn't have cellular data, and I had to spend probably about 50% of my battery each day hotspotting for everyone else
Yeah.
because no one else had cellular data. And I was like, oh, I planned on going again. I'm going to get this American plan so I don't have to pay roaming fees.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the
I
core of like planning ahead of time.
Yeah, I would just go back to the credit card part. So I tried to pay for public transit for like a public transit pass with a Visa debit and it didn't get accepted. So you have to have a credit card to pay for the public transit pass.
The other thing to note is it is in the States, so you also need a passport. So if you're wanting to go this year to GDC, if us telling you about it here gets you excited, go apply right away.
Yeah,
You don't want to end up like Ian, where you're applying for a visa and they say they'll get you in May 20, or they'll get you in May, except for it's May of 2025. So
yeah,
still like a year out from now, because
yeah,
that process can be rough for you. Canadians, it's not so hard if you're like a Canadian student, it's not too bad. But if you're an international student, you got to plan a ways out.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
it's a lot.
there's some more layers of bureaucracy in there.
One thing to note, from more of a header perspective, is we are thinking for next year. This was a loose discussion point; it's not required. We were thinking of potentially trying to do the full 5 days.
Yeah,
So very roughly, the way GDC is structured, it is a 5 day workshop.
yeah,
2 days are all panels. It's panels and like sort of industry after party stuff.
yeah,
And then the last 3 days have the expo floor open. That's where you go around and you like collect free swag from everyone.
yeah,
So like my LinkedIn headshot, I got that from Unity. We've got free shirts. I've got a bunch of little like uh Fortnite pinata Lego sets that they were giving
yeah,
away at Unreal,
yeah,
right? So like all of these big because the thing is GDC is a game developers conference, right? And
yeah,
all these softwares are there. So like the way it works out is that I wonder if they have a map here. Um, the way it works out though is that there's essentially like huge areas, right? So you've got panel rooms on the main floors and stuff like that, but underneath the full conference center, there's this expo floor. And the expo floor has got one massive section over here, one massive section over here, and then one massive section in like attaching both of them together underneath the road. So
hmm
like it literally goes underneath the road that people are driving their vehicles on.
yeah,
And basically you'll see like GDC, you'll see Godot, you'll see Unreal, you'll see tons of like indie games people will do. So one of the things that happens along like the core body stretch is a lot of schools do their stuff there to try and get some people to come to their programs. You also see there's like a section of Canadian indie games and stuff like
yeah,
that that'll be there. And then you'll have like basically the whole expo floor is crazy. You can spend
yeah.
8 hours there each day walking around trying to like look at cool stuff and getting free stuff.
And still not get to everything. Yeah,
The biggest struggle is actually pulling yourself away from the expo floor to go see a bloody panel.
yeah. The one of the more challenging parts of going to GDC was that all the panels are based on you. There's some panels you actually can't attend based on the pass that you have. Yeah. So like the top tier pass that lets you go to like the really big company panels were
Yeah, so we got the expo
20,
pass, which is $2.99 or $3.99 uh if you waited till like closer to the day, right? They
yeah,
haven't posted the pricing for the new one, but it'll be probably identical to this.
yeah,
And that's USD. So that's a bit much. And then you got summits. Summits is like I was saying, how Monday and Tuesday are all panels and stuff like that. That's where the summit pass gets you. The core pass is the literally not the same. So you've got your Wednesday to Friday panel summit stuff and the expo floor stuff, that one. And then the one over the all access is all 5 days. So the one thing to note is TruSU gives us $1,000 per student max, up to 5K for a whole trip, right?
yeah,
So the all access passes are completely out of the budget. So one of the things we were talking about um, is there are ways to get the passes for less.
yeah,
So there's a Friday only pass, there's an audio pass only, which is interesting. And then there's like some summit passes, but so this is for the all access pass. It's 10%. It's not enough. But typically what they do is there's this diversity, equity, and inclusion section where you can apply to be different things. There are also two other things we thought about doing, which is the conference associates program. This is working the conference. So
hmm
the idea being that you apply. We would basically what we need to do is we need to get whatever list of students we wanted to take with us,
yeah,
get that list locked in. Then we would apply to basically for a job at this conference. And you would work 25 hours over the 5 days. So 5 hours a day, not too bad. You'd get paid. This is a paid job, actually. It's not volunteer. And they give you an all access pass, I believe. Is that correct? Where does it say that? There you go. So they pay you and they give you a $2,000 pass. I would like to point out that is a $2,000 pass for 5 days of work.
yeah. That
That's
would
25 hours of work. No one in this room is making 20 enough that I would be able to pay for that in 25 hours.
no,
Because what is that? Almost like $80 an hour?
if more, if not more.
I'm
Factor
not making $80 an hour.
factoring in like
Oh,
how much you'd pay in
that's USD, by the
taxes.
way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably like 3,500 Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were looking at potentially trying to do that. The other option is, I don't know if it's got it here. This is really cool. So, uh, oh, look, they actually plan on doing it again this year. So on Friday, March 25th, first year on 2025. So on the Friday pass, they'll also have, they dedicate like a section to students. I think it
Hmm.
requires you to be sub 25. So if you're a mature student like me, you can't do it. But it is a cool thing for all the students to go off to separately and like spend a full day just learning. The first year we went, I think it was all Unreal. So Unreal just did like one of these workshops, but paid for by Unreal, ran by Unreal. They had like breakfast provided and stuff like that, right? So it's like that's pretty cool. The other thing is obviously like they've got this low income pass. That's only for like I think it's just the 3D the Expo pass, I believe. Um, there's a bunch of indie giving passes and stuff like that. Tons of cool ways to get the passes that we could look into as well. Um, it doesn't show it here, but last year they also did a what was it? It was like a GDC Sunday volunteer. Let's see if this works. Not now. Maybe it's this. Is this it here? Yeah, this is it. So if you volunteered in San Francisco on the Sunday before the conference, uh, here it is. So you donate $500 and go, and they would give you a full all access pass as well. So for a day's worth of work, instead of paying 2,000 whatever it was,
It'd be like
2,500,
over
it would be
3,000.
$500 and a day's worth of work.
Yeah.
So if we didn't want to, or we didn't get jobs for the week long option, we were also looking at potentially doing this option.
Yeah.
Basically, what the plan is for next year is to get this list locked in, do one of these little work placement thingies,
Yeah.
uh, pay either 500 or nothing and get paid
Yep.
at this workshop, and then go for the full 5 days, basically meaning that our TRUSU money of $5,000 total, divided however, would
Yeah.
go towards the flight and hotel.
Yeah.
And like, I think realistically, it would be great to send 12 people again. Maybe we send eight. Uh,
Depends on how feasible that
Whatever
would be.
multiples of four we
Yeah.
work out.
Also, the earlier you can actually you can
Plan.
lock people in, the earlier you can book flights.
The other thing to note is it's not the way we do it is not short.
No.
Um, we drove from Kamloops
Oh,
to
right.
Seattle. So it's 4:45, but the border, that's another half an hour.
Yeah.
And if you drive an EV like me, add another 2 hours.
Yeah. Someone got stopped at the border. That was funny.
Yeah. So that when we flew back, I was like, oh, it'll be fun. We're flying back Saturday. Why don't we just have the full Saturday to enjoy ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So we were sort of in limbo for most of the day.
Yeah.
Go to the airport. I believe our flight was delayed like an hour, but it still landed at around the right time.
Yeah.
So we land. We didn't get back into town till noon the next day. It was Sunday at noon when we all finally got home.
Yeah. And Gavin was driving the entire time.
Yeah, I
So
was
that was
fried. Holy,
yeah.
oh my God. Literally, like our flight landed in Seattle at like 1. We had to top up my car for an hour till 2, then start driving, stop, charge. And then by the time I rolled into Kamloops, I don't know if you guys know where it is, but if you're coming from the highway over towards like Costco, there's a certain like up that way where it's like the chain off area. I hit 0 at that chain off area on my battery, and I just slid into Kamloops on 0, all the way to like
Where
where
the triple O's
Triple O's
is.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
scary as hell.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, realistically though, next year we would fly out of Bellingham. It's a little closer. It's about an hour and 50 minutes saved,
Yeah.
which doesn't seem like a lot, but it feels amazingly different. And then also the parking is so much cheaper, and it's also you're not driving into the big city, and it's not as scary.
Yeah,
So
Seattle's parking was very strange. We went into a big parking lot and had to get shuttled to the airport.
yeah, you have to get SeaTac from a separate place over. The whole thing, because
Yeah.
that's like a major airport. I think it's
Yeah.
like probably the biggest airport. Like there's Vancouver's our big one on the West Coast. That's their big one in the Northwest.
Yeah.
There's like a big one there, and then there's like a huge one in San Fran
Yeah.
and stuff like that, right? Like they've got a few of them,
Yeah.
but that's their big one in the Northwest for them. So it's a
Yeah.
big airport. It was a lot. Okay. Now that we sort of told you what the plan is for going to GDC this year, let's tell you more about GDC past the point of big expo floor get free stuff. Although
And
big expo floor get free stuff.
yeah,
Um, what panel did you go? What do you remember what panels you went to?
yeah, actually, so the two most memorable ones for me were actually from the game archive. So it was kind of like this nonprofit group that stores and protects and archives uh, games that have been developed just over the years as like almost a historical piece, uh, art of its time, you know, uh, and it was really pertinent because game developers, like you got your big AAA companies that are really hold tight on their IP, but then they also like let all these games that people love die, like just in the pit. So the goal of game archives was to protect that data, to protect the games people love, and to give, and if people want access or if people want to give to the game archive, because it is a non-for-profit, it does run based on like donations. Um, it's cool. It was really interesting. I'd never heard of it before, and they also have books, audiobooks on game design. The book Game Feel that was brought up last week, that's on Game Archive, and you can have it as an you can't download it, but you can use it as an audiobook on their website, or you can read it, and it's free. That book's $1,000 otherwise. Um, yeah, so really cool. The other one that really stood out to me, because I got in a bit of an argument with the developer afterwards, was Maple Story.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
Next on.
i- yeah, because Maple Story, they were shifting to a blockchain model where, yeah, so your gear could be destroyed, everything based on like blockchain technology. And my question for him was, what happens if your account gets stolen? Right? Like, because if in the blockchain, if your stuff goes missing, it's gone forever. No one's replacing it for you, especially not the company that you're spending money on. Because MapleStory is a subscription with in-game purchases, I believe. Yeah. So very, very strange, just in general. Um, and they didn't know what to do about those kind of issues either, which I thought was pretty telling. Uh, yeah. Well, they'll also in their crafting system, your stuff can get destroyed in their crafting system, but that's stuff you paid for that just that's gone forever. And I asked because it's on blockchain. Well, can you sell other people your equipment? Is there a way to monetize this for yourself if it's on blockchain? And they said they don't want anything to do with that, which was also
So
very
why move to
telling.
the blockchain then?
Why
Like the
move to
whole
the
point
blockchain?
of blockchain, this is like the selling point of the blockchain, right?
Yeah,
Is that you have a transactional history of all the previous owners,
yeah,
and you can do trickle back economics on everything as it moves forward, right? Everyone gets sort of can get a cut or whatever. There's also one of a kind ownership and all that shit. But like the point is that it's tracked and in the net and no one person
yeah,
manages it. If there's all that and you're not going to do anything that requires it, why not? Why move it off a database, right?
yeah. They're like the moving it off a database seemed like such a almost on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From
Just for the buzzwords.
the buzzword was definitely it. It was also that was on the fourth day. And it was one of the only ones that were available on our pass, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah, so let me. So I just wanted to show you guys this as well. So this is their like map that they had made up. This is like their fun gimmicky map that they did, right? So you can see in this map here, there's the North Tower on the main floor. There's like the little shop there, and then underneath all of that, you can see just how big that expo floor is, right? Like I'm saying, this is literally like two full blocks type of deal, and then going underneath the whole thing
Yeah,
as well as the third building here. So like the Moscow Center is huge, and they use all three buildings for this stuff. It's
yeah.
crazy.
You literally walk underground if you don't want to cross the street.
Yeah. literally. And yeah, so you can see how big it all is. So like there's a community lounge there, which I think was more of just like a sitting space,
Yeah.
with some food there. Then you've got like a bunch of game history stuff. You've got sustainability. You've got arcade stuff. You've got the industry stage there for like panels and stuff like that. So it's huge. It's full of stuff. It's really really cool. One of the things there that's here is Alt Control Delete or Alt Control GDC. That is a thing where like universities gave these students, these game dev students, as a final project, make a game with an alternative control scheme. So one of the ones I saw was someone who had a shopping cart as their controller. Yeah, and like that was a thing. There was one where you went inside this like tent, and the whole thing was that you were inside of like a witch's food truck, and so you had to like use these like different like Connect style controllers and stuff like that to make potions and food and ice cream and stuff like that. Alt Control Delete will give you some of the most interesting, weird little contraptions you've ever seen in your life. I think one person had a game where you were paragliding, and he literally had this like PVC pipe rig with two like handles attached to pulley systems, and that's how you would pull the like wings of your plane. And like this was in a game with these weird controls. It's so fun to look at. And then obviously, like we were saying before, there's all like the startups. One of the things also there is there's huge meetings. I have a Discord. I want a Discord keyboard. That was cool. Like
Yeah.
$200 Discord keyboard that I'm using.
Yep. I got the
Plushie.
computer mat.
Yeah, you got the mouse pad.
Yeah. I got
Uh, we've
it was
got
yeah.
plushies. A bunch of us got Discord Bumpus plushies.
Yep. I
So
got a One Piece Lite. That was pretty cool.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tons of cool stuff that you can get for free by going. That sort of makes you feel a little bit better about spending the money. Obviously, you're going there for the experience as well.
Yeah.
Um,
But
we were
the stuff is nice. Don't overpack.
yeah, pack as little as you can. You need as much suitcase room as you can get.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so like we were saying here, right? So if you look at the schedule here, the way it's set up is there's those summit sessions, which are like deep dives into specific disciplines and markets. So the idea is that like newcomers, typically you're going to want the last 3 days, but those first 2 days have so much like value. Um,
Yeah.
Heck, one of the concepts we missed, it was a core concepts one, which was, as you can see here, is all access core and audio, and we were only on Expo. One of the days we were there, there was a panel from Riot devs talking about designing Valorant agents. And we didn't get to go because we were on the Expo Pass, and that's why we're getting the full pass this time
Yeah.
because it's
Painful.
it's saddening to get the Expo
Yeah.
Pass, see all these cool things. You're like, I want to go to that, and there's like, no, no.
Yeah.
So
It's like going to a buffet and half the stuff isn't available.
yeah,
Yeah, there was Final Fantasy roundtables, there was God of War roundtables. My heart broke so many times.
yeah.
But it was cool.
There was a concert.
Yeah, there was a whole concert.
Yeah,
I missed that, by the way.
they went to like a the concert was literally like an orchestra playing video game soundtracks
Yep,
that the others went to. Um,
yep,
there's so much cool stuff all going through the whole time, and this year we're going for the full experience because it's my last year and I need to go.
oh
Full
yeah, gotta do it.
Gotta.
It's your last year?
Yeah, I graduate this year.
Jesus,
I'll run this workshop next year as well, but then I'm done. This will be the last thing I do with this year, use student body next year.
that's wild.
Yeah. Um, Super cool stuff there, obviously, right? Like IGF is a big foundation. And one of the things here is that they also have that, which is like, oh, so one of the things we did, all of us did this more or
Yeah,
less, is we all went to a Unity mixer. So we went to Unity's head
yeah,
office. It
that
was
was sick.
super cool. I don't know if you know this, but Unity's head office has beer on tap
And wine.
and wine. They have wine and beer on tap in that office.
Yeah,
Yeah, why
yeah.
wouldn't you?
And
Um,
yeah, there were some girls from Riot Games there
Yeah,
that did World
we have.
Champions.
I've
Yeah,
got their summer ID, and
yeah,
we're supposed to be playing games at some point, but we never ended up doing that. But still, networking.
yeah.
Oh my God, Hamza,
Huh?
networking machine. That dude was in there
Yeah.
going at it.
He disappeared for a few hours. We were worried, and he showed up, and he was like, had this wild story of leaving with some random guy in his car.
Taking a cab to a secondary location. Never go to a secondary location. But no, it was a good time. We also all got to see like climb inside of a Cybertruck.
That's true.
Yeah, because one of our buddies works at Tesla, so he came up, he drove a Cybertruck up, and
Yeah.
we all got to like get inside of it and play around with it.
Well, he's a TRU alum, so he graduated from the computer science program, and he had done a co-op program at Tesla a couple of years before, and got his job that way.
Yeah, and like we're saying, is tons of networking. They have speed networking events. That one, we went. I went to.
Yeah.
Did you go? Were you? Who came with me? Was it you?
No.
No,
It's probably
someone came
Angelo.
with me.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Angelo. Someone was sitting next to me, and it was all students. There was like a few like people making like small things, but that one wasn't as great. But like, if you there's one-on-one meetings you can schedule with people. Because basically what happens is you have the app that you download, right?
Yeah.
And when you scan someone's ID, it pulls up basically their profile, and you can schedule a one-on-one meeting through the app that way if they want to. Um, and it's like some really cool stuff that way. Obviously, they have their own award shows that they do.
Yeah.
And then one other thing is that they do the happy hour. So the expo hall technically closes at 5,
Yeah.
but from 5 to 6, it's still open and they do happy hours. So, like, basically at that exact hour, all of these, probably like, I say, like at least 10 different booths brought in booze. So, like, you could
Yeah.
get wine, you could get a couple of beers.
Yeah.
The first year we went, we had Moscow Mules.
Yeah.
Like,
There
if,
were companies that just had games at their booth that you could just get a beer
yeah.
like that, and it was a game.
Tons of cool stuff that way. Obviously, all the playing of other people's indie games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have like $600 worth of Cinti coupons because of GDC still,
Yeah.
um, which we'll probably be using. Logan, we just started the GDC talk. Roll up. We started early because people want to go home early. We started the GDC talk early. Come pop a squat. No, no, it's good. You didn't know that, obviously. Um,
But you should have.
yeah. Why didn't you just see the future and assume that we were going to do that? Um, Yeah. So what panels did you go to? Here, I'll pass the mic over your way.
I went to a lot of panels. When I went, I mostly went to panels. So I went to like Unity was doing a bunch of them. Uh, I went to the Discord one, which you guys went to as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I went to uh, uh, I went to actually which one I found very interesting, which is going to be funny, is I went to a conference mainly about how uh, Lego Fortnite was developed, which was actually very interesting because the entire game is completely different from regular Fortnite. And so just hearing the development process behind the actual people that made it was honestly invaluable, in my opinion. Yeah, here, I'll pass it
Yeah.
back.
Uh, Actually, bringing up the Google one, the Discord one. One of the things that we saw at the Discord one was Discord was bringing in activities. And these activities have financial, like the ability to code them yourself, right? So you can upload games there now. And they were letting it, if you go to these conferences and you go to these panels, you can find out about ways to get money as like a indie developer. So Discord had this contest basically where people, I think it's over now, obviously. It was Marchish there, but people were basically pitching. It was a pitching session.
Yeah.
What would happen is they'd give you 5 grand USD to start prototyping your game, and then another 5 if you finished it off. And it was this like cool way of doing that. And then do you remember what the other one was? There was like a Google one.
There's, I remember there being a Google booth, but they were.
No, 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 the developer thing. There was like a summer thing
Oh, I
where
didn't see that.
yeah, basically, during the summer, a lot of times because people are off, you can see these different like learn about it at this conference ways to earn funding, right? So like that's one of the things I'm excited about going next year is that when I'm done school,
Yeah.
I'll have this like list of places to get funding, so I can sort of pseudo start my own indie game development company, right?
Yeah.
Which is the plan. Uh,
No, that's really awesome. One of the most valuable things in my experience as well is they had something pretty much every day, almost every hour, called speed networking, where you could go around and just talk to uh, anyone in the room and just get to know them, what industry they're in, make connections on LinkedIn, stuff like that. And it's super valuable. Like, probably one of the most important things you can go to there.
yeah, and I mean on the note of networking specifically, I don't earlier this week, last week, or earlier this workshop, Joe showed off extra credits. He showed off that MVP video. Yeah, we met. James Port now, in the Seattle airport, leaving GDC on that Saturday. We met him,
Yeah.
we got his contact information,
Yeah.
and if everything works out, in October, he is coming to Kamloops to do a workshop. I'd like to remind you, this man created the channel that has like what, 2 point something million subscribers? What? Sorry, 3.6 million subscribers. So he will be likely, probably, potentially coming here in October to do just a day workshop, maybe 4 hours, so whatever it is, and talking out some game development concepts, which is very exciting. And again, networking, super cool. And his partner works at Monolith,
Yeah.
the guys who make Shadow of Mordor. Yeah, so like the people you meet at GDC is as exciting as the things you go and see.
Yeah. It's almost more valuable to talk to as many people as possible and actually like introduce yourself, learn their names.
Especially as a student, because like we're all very like touching our little toes in the water of game development. So like having these people you're meeting is a lot more useful to building this like network of contacts than say uh going to a panel about the 26th form of VCAD optimization, right? Like, because one of the panels I did go to was someone showing off this really interesting way of rendering and lowering the poly count as you move farther away. It was a super cool thing, but I was just like, I would have no idea how to use this, right? Like, you can see a ton of cool stuff that you can't use. You know who you can use? That guy that you met. You can use him right away. You can talk to him right away and ask questions, right? Like, I think most of us walked away from that trip with at least like another 15 people added our LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They're
And LinkedIn now has the like QR code scanning thing, and you can link it to your GDC
Yeah.
profile. Tons of cool stuff that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Weirdly enough, on Friday they turned off the Wi-Fi to the event. So that was a very interesting experience.
And one other thing is like, there's an Excel sheet of after parties.
Yeah.
I volunteered at a board game night with GGP, which is the Gay Gaming Professionals. I'm not gay. I went anyways and helped out. I volunteered. I figured, ally. But it was a good time. Like I met a bunch of people who, one of the guys I met, I actually have someone's business card and LinkedIn of a guy who does the community management for Among Us. And he's literally like, when you finish school, reach out to me. Like, that's the level of context you can make. If you're nice, presentable, if you're casual, if you're enjoyable to talk to,
Yeah.
if you've got these like interpersonal skills, you can make connections for like full-on jobs when you finish school. And like the job market sucks, guys. It sucks. Going to a trip like this and making those contacts ahead of time, incredibly helpful.
Yeah. Stuff like this makes me think of something Kevin said what at the last introducing to faculty meeting was one of the worst things you can be is just a student. You need to network, you need to reach out, you need to grow your social circle, you need to gain a skill set, you need to do everything and anything you can do because everybody in your class is going to have the exact same skill set as you unless you do something about it, right? Everyone knows the same people unless you do something about it.
Heck, most of the assignments we all do are the same assignments, right?
Yeah, year over year.
You make a website, you do this. So you gotta add those flair to it too, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? What did you think of your GDC experience overall, though?
I thought it was incredible. I thought it was really fun, incredibly valuable.
Yeah, what are we
You
going,
know.
Logan? You going again next year?
Oh, yeah, if I
Yeah.
can, yeah, for sure.
Same. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm going again next year.
If it's up to me, I will definitely go in 5 days, easy.
The greatest hindrance to your ability to go to the GDC is whether or not you can get the time off if you have a job, and whether or not you have the ability to, and also the ability to commit ahead of time is really important because
Yeah.
we really do want to plan this out ahead of time.
Yeah.
It'll be probably like one of the first things that the CS Club discusses in the new year is that, hey, who wants to go to GDC this year? And
Yeah.
then we're literally going to build a list and then we're going to plan a budget. and then we're gonna all apply for these jobs as soon as that opens up, and then
Yeah.
it'll be like this. We're doing either
We're
the
gonna
volunteer on the
try.
Sunday and paying 500, or we're gonna get a jobs.
Yeah.
We're doing the 5 days though. I don't care how we
Plus,
do it.
yeah, we're doing the 5 days. If we work 5 hours, like this thing goes on for almost 12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do five, like you'll figure it out.
Plus, I mean, half the time you can hear what's going on from outside the doors.
Yeah.
Half the time they need somebody managing the sound systems, right?
Yeah.
Like the job that they give you is guard the door, scan passes, stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? So it's like it's not hard, like like manual labor.
It doesn't look, it's not difficult. It looks almost a little boring, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks fairly mundane, but I would do mundane for $2,000 savings.
Also, it's a story you get to tell. Hey, I did volunteer at GDC. I got
Slap that on your resume.
Yeah.
Literally slap that on your
Yeah.
resume, because if you show that you're willing to put the time in to interact with these people and stuff like that. Plus, one other thing that's kind of relevant is if you're working, you might end up just being a gopher for someone famous. I'm just saying that can happen.
Yeah.
You could be Miyazaki's little peasant boy. You can fetch water for him
Yeah.
whenever he beckons.
Uh,
There's a ton of like cool stuff that way. So like in the school year, keep an eye out for when the CS club, the Computing Science Club specifically, keep an eye out for when that club puts out an ad for their first board meeting, because those are open to everyone. Come to that, share your interest. It's going to be people who are there at that meeting who likely have first dibs, and then people who volunteer on the board will get higher priorities. So if you put in some volunteer time throughout the school year, that would be good.
yeah.
And you don't have to be a CS student necessarily if you have other things that are helpful. For example, each year we always have someone who's like our designer for like marketing, and it's always a CS student who is doing the most rough canvas stuff you've ever seen,
Yeah.
because it's me half the time. Or it's us using like Copilot AI to throw together the worst poster because none of us have the time or skills to build these posters, right? Like there's ways to get involved in these things to put yourself higher on the list, to still like sort of sort it out and get in there, even if you're not into like, oh, I don't really want to run or create questions for can you code, right? And even general board is so easy to be involved in.
Yeah.
The commitment is once every 2 weeks, show up to a meeting.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's all.
It's not like the gaming club where we have one meeting a month and then Gavin does all the work.
Yeah.
I can't. Mostly.
Yeah. It's and communicate. If you can't make a meeting or if something, just if you communicate that you want to be a part of it, if you want to help. Like I don't get a lot of time. I don't think I made it to the first and second meeting, and then I was busy the rest of the year. And I just, spend time with these people. We all like each other. I have every intention to spend more time being involved in the CS club
Yeah.
and the game development club next year. And we're going to we're gonna get her going.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the game development club in particular, that's kind of like the most obvious tie into this workshop.
Yeah.
And arguably, we could run the GDC trip through the game development club as well.
I almost think we could do two halves.
You can only run one trip through TRUSU.
That's very strange.
Yeah, you can run one group, doesn't matter which group, whatever group puts in the application first as a group with faculty backing has first dibs on the conference.
Okay.
So you can't send 10 people by sending it to two clubs.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
rules. They are what they are. They aren't going to change it.
No.
But the nice thing is getting that commitment ahead of time will help, because one thing that'll also do is that'll help lock in prices and hotel at the cheapest possible amount.
Yeah.
Luckily, hotels, you don't pay till you go. Prices, those got to be paid. So what we did last year is we also all did like a deposit to hold our spot. And if you left with ample time, you got your deposit back. And if you didn't, if we had to find an emergency substitute, your deposit was used to subsidize that guy. For example, Victor, we bought, no, sorry, not Victor, Zion. We bought Zion. He paid about half the price everyone else did because someone else's deposit was used for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so again, it was Jordy.
Yeah.
It was Jordy's.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Either way, we'll probably do a deposit. Maybe it'll be $200 because it will be farther out, but we'll lock in those spots. I'll budget it out before it comes. I'll figure out all the cost roughly.
Yep.
Um,
And if you find out you can't make it, communicate that as soon as possible because there's
Soon as
someone that
possible.
will want to take. There's someone that also wants to go,
Yeah.
right?
We sent 12 people.
Yeah.
And that was because that's all we had planned.
Yeah.
Realistically, we could send more. We could just keep sending groups of 4. Because you
Yeah.
stick 4 people in one car, drive it to the airport, fly, 4 people share a room. Boom, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4,
Yeah.
4. And we can do that.
We can.
The
But
part, the most difficult part of the larger group is going to be getting everyone in one of those volunteer programs.
yeah.
Yeah.
So be one of the first people to apply for the volunteer program. Write up your cover letter. Do anything you can, right? It's not like a co-op where you have to go through them. You have to, it's applying for a job and do you need a work visa to volunteer?
So the that's the thing is that this one here requires you to be able to work in the States.
So you do need a visa.
Um, so that one's slightly different. I'm not sure what that's like for Canadians. This one where we budget, so this is what we'll build the budget around. We'll build the budget around this one, which is $500 for the ticket
Easy.
and a day's worth of on Sunday volunteering, because this one is volunteer work straight up.
Yeah.
This is volunteer work straight up with a donation. And that's what we'll build the budget around. They give you an extra T-shirt as well, which is fun. And that's the one where you go in and you do volunteer work on the Sunday, and
Yeah.
then you have all 5 days fully free.
Yeah.
So that one's kind of nice.
Yep.
Obviously, you're not getting paid on the other days because you're not working, but it's still very, very cool. You can see here that space is limited to an extent,
Yeah.
but presumably they do a lot of it. I don't actually know what the quantity ends up being, but we'll keep you in the loop because again, we will let you know as it comes.
March 17th, 2024.
That's last year's.
Yeah.
As soon as this goes up, though, basically I'll just keep tracking all this stuff. We'll plan it. Basically, all we need is that list with confirmation that you can go to the States.
Yeah.
And ideally with confirmation that you could work potentially. I'm not sure how to do that or what that looks like.
I think you could ask Service Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canada, work in States. Perfect. United States work visa. Okay. So what does that look like? No, it's fine. Give me 5 seconds. We'll figure it out. Can a Canadian student? Sure. Let's see what this looks like. I don't want to open LinkedIn. Go away. Okay, here you go. Obtaining it. You apply. What else do you need? Requires. So that it wouldn't be that one. Intercompany, no. Temporary? Is TN temporary?
Probably.
No. Interesting. Maybe the visas won't work. Maybe we won't be able to. Do they have a? No, 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 no. You'd want something like because H1s are bachelors, L1s are intercompany transfers, so that doesn't work. TNs are specific areas, accountants, engineers, lawyers. So you need something even more
to attain a work visa. Sorry, go back.
Sure.
Go down. To so to go
That's
down.
not
To obtain a work visa, Canadian citizens must first find a job with a U.S. employer who's willing to sponsor them. So that's probably grasping at straws for that one specifically. But
Yeah,
you could
but you
still
could do this one, the employment authorization document, maybe.
yeah,
Because this one here is more of a student or visitors.
yeah, non-immigrant visa.
We're visitors.
Yeah, student visa. Yeah,
Visitors. So we could look at doing this one here, and this one for like temporary stuff.
yeah,
Presumably, these are all. We'll look into it as
Yeah.
it gets closer. Someone will. Or we'll do the volunteer one. It's $500 and a day's worth of work. That one's probably better anyways, because then you have the
Yeah.
whole workshop. So let's
That's
assume that's
true.
and that's why we're planning the whole thing around this, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, if we plan the whole thing around this, and one of these goofy goobers does manage to get a job in the States, well, look, you can still come with us. You just don't have to pay the $500 donation. You don't have to volunteer the Sunday. Your Sunday's free now, and then you get to be paid when you're there.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll plan around this one. You can do the other one or try to figure it out for yourself or whatever. You can also apply through all of like what we're saying is that there's all of these. They have a ton of different ways to get it as well. So see this list here. If you're any of these things, you can apply for a all access pass through these companies, right? And they all come up and go. I built an email list last time, and I was sharing this email list with everyone. And then that was what we were doing is like, hey, this person has this option, this option, this option, this option. Take a look, see if any of it works, right? So like girls make games. If you're a girl in game development, perfect. If you're part of the LGBTQ plus, I don't know what the acronym is at this point, but it's all there. That's there too. If you're any sort of like minorities, I believe there's a
James Making.
LATAM. I believe that's like a Latin America one. There's
tell you.
tons of different ones in here.
All of
I need
it's
diverse games.
diversity.
So much. Yeah, well, I mean that's the point. It's diversity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there's tons of stuff that they call through their scholarship thing there, and you can look at applying through any of them as they come up as well. And I'll share that list as well. What we might end up doing is literally like if you wanted to like tag when I build the email list, if you just wanted to like tag which things you think like you'd qualify for from like an inclusion perspective,
Yeah.
then I can, when I'm tracking this, I can share those ones specifically to you.
Yeah.
But either way, it's super fun. It's super cool. You should all want to go. In fact, after I hang up this stream here, tell me right now if you're interested. Like if you genuinely want to go and you want me to add you to the list, we'll build that list now. We'll start
Yeah.
building it right now. You came to the workshop. You get to be put on the goddamn list first.
Let's go.
That's what you get for showing up to things.
Yeah, Logan.
All right, stream. We're heading out.